Hey there, fools! Big T here, and I'm back with another video. And this video is about the big companies, the big AAA companies out there who still have not supported the Switch, and why I think that is. Now, obviously, I'm talking about EA. I'm talking about Activision, and even to some degree Ubisoft. Now, Ubisoft has done some cool things on Switch. They brought Starlink, obviously, especially with the Star Fox DLC. They did Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which I love. But as far as their bigger titles that are kind of multi-plats, you haven't seen those on Switch, and definitely from EA and Activision as well. Now again, Activision has put some stuff out like this Crash and Spyro trilogy stuff, which is cool and all. And I think early on they did Skylanders, which is that what it's called? Yeah, Skylanders. But that is a franchise that pretty much died. But as far as their, again, big multi-plat games, they haven't done much on Switch. And obviously EA has only given us a couple of FIFA games and a couple of indie titles reluctantly. And there you are. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care. Nothing that those companies offer me at this point is anything I care at all that much about. Now, I think it kind of came to a head with 2K. I didn't really mention 2K games, but they make the basketball game, the 2K series and stuff, and they have other games that they publish and whatnot. And they recently came out with the trailer showing their jackpot loot box stuff that's in 2K 2020. I believe that it was in 2K19 as well, but it wasn't as pronounced. And I didn't get 2K19 either, but I was looking forward to getting 2K20 this year. But once I saw that, I was like, nah, I'm done. Don't care. And this is just the type of stuff that you see from these companies that runs rampant on other consoles, but unable to do that on Switch. Now, part of it has to do with the online setup infrastructure for Nintendo Switch itself. It's not as robust or robust enough to take advantage of certain things when it comes to multiplayer and online interactions with these games, these service games especially. But even that, I'm not quite as sure about, because we do have MMORPGs on the Switch. You have stuff that does require somewhat intricate online capabilities, stuff like the DC Universe stuff, Paladins, and stuff like that. So there is that, but I'm at a point where I just don't care about what these companies offer, and they can just keep it off Switch. You can just keep that trash off my Nintendo Switch, as far as I'm concerned. EA is a joke. They just happen to have franchises that are big enough to sustain them at this point, and it's kind of they're almost too big to fail, but not quite. Activision, again, they get away with stuff. I think they get away with more than even EA, and they get less criticism and backlash for it, which is unfortunate. But EA is just easier to attack at this point. They make it easier to attack them at this point. And now you got 2K, which they've been doing stuff over the years. It's nothing new. It's just that now, like I said, it's coming to a head. And I just don't care. I don't care about these companies, what they offer. Obviously, I do like the 2K basketball series. It's just unfortunate. Again, I put out a tweet, and it's just that as a principled consumer and gamer, I just can't allow myself to support these types of practices, and I won't, and I'm just not going to do that. And that's, in some instances it hurts to have to do that, but I can't support this stuff, and I'm not here to tell you what to do or to start a movement and a boycott or whatever, nothing like that. But again, this is my channel, so I'm giving you my opinions. Some people have issues with that. They act like I have to speak for them and not myself, which is strange. But I try to speak for gamers, where I advocate for them and or us and what we should want and what is best for us. There are some YouTubers out there who don't do that. They tend to protect companies over the consumers, which I find odd. And I find odd that, their fan bases or their subscriber bases let them get away with that stuff. But I'm going to take you to task when I feel like you're not up to standards. I feel like Nintendo, as far as the Switch build quality, isn't up to standards. And I feel like that as far as their online capabilities. And I'm going to talk about that stuff. And if you can't handle it, don't watch the channel. That's how I feel about it. You don't have to watch me. You don't have to cry for my opinions. My onions shouldn't make you cry. But I'm going to be true to myself. I'm going to tell you how I actually feel myself and not tell you stuff to make you, not be mad at me. That's corny. And I've never been that way. I'd never looked for anybody's acceptance. I've always been my own person, and I've been a happier person because of that. So, but there are these channels, sadly, people that I, once respected, who will shill for the company over what's best for their subscribers and the consumers, the gamers. So, it's unfortunate, but I'm not going to do that. And when I see stuff that EA does, that Activision does, I just don't care. Like, I don't care to have that stuff on my favorite console, which is the Switch at this point. So I don't need your garbage, your garbage practices, your money grubbing practices on Switch. And it bothers me because I was about to buy the Spyro trilogy. And I found out that there's a required 8 gigabyte download, and the game itself is under 16 gigs, so it could fit on a 16 gigabyte cartridge. They just opted not to do so. I don't know if it's just because of parity, because the PlayStation 4 guys had to deal with that, because the games weren't ready at the time, and they couldn't get the game all on Blu-ray because the games weren't quite ready yet, and they wanted to they wanted to get it out on time, so they had you download a portion of the games, and which was BS, and I wouldn't support that either. But now you've had time to put the game on the cartridge, and it's not a price issue because even Capcom put Dragon's Dogma, which is a 14 gigabyte game, on a 16 gig cart. Even they put they spent the money for a 16 gigabyte cart for a game that they put out for $30. So it wasn't even a full price game. And now if Capcom can do it, when they were screwing people over, screwing gamers over, Nintendo gamers over for Super Nintendo games, making you download them when they can easily fit on a cart, and stuff they've done with Resident Evil has been atrocious, obviously. But even if they could pull off putting that game, the Dragon's Dogma, for $30 on a 16 gigabyte cart, why the hell couldn't Spyro from Activision go onto a 16 gigabyte cart without issues? And the game costs more. It's a $40 game, whereas Dragon's Dogma is only $30. So it's just stuff like that I just don't understand. And Call of Duty I don't care about. So their big games I don't even care about. Ubisoft, again, they've been better than most. But again, their bigger games have not come over either. Assassin's Creed and whatnot. We got Assassin's Creed 3 remaster, which I don't understand how these games are actually remastered. I guess some of them have better frame rates and some have better resolutions, but it's nothing to write home about. So there's that. But some of their newer stuff, The Division, or some of the newer Assassin's Creed stuff like Odyssey has not come over, at least in the West, because they did this kind of streaming thing in the East again. It was weird. I don't know. I guess it's a kind of experimental thing they're doing there. But, we haven't had that stuff here. And I don't know. Ubisoft is just kind of in a weird limbo state when it comes to Switch at this point. I don't know what's going on with them. So there's that. But, EA, again, they've only offered up FIFA games. And I don't know how they were able to get away with that statement of our fans don't buy games on Switch, they buy them on other consoles, because you haven't put the goddamn games out. You haven't put the games out on Switch to make that assessment. So people talking about, maybe they have the internal data. How can you create data without proof of concept, without having the games on the system to say, okay, yeah, our fans aren't buying them? You got FIFA. FIFA is a bigger game in Europe than it is in the United States, which is the biggest market. So if you put out Madden and it's sold like ass, then I can understand where you're coming from. You could say, well, our fans want the prettier version, the more robust version, because of course they wouldn't put the same engine and whatnot and the same modes on the Madden for Switch. They pull stuff out like they've done with FIFA. Then you can say that, but you haven't put your bigger tier games out on Switch. So how can you make this bold statement of our fans won't buy these games on Switch? I don't understand how you have that data when you have nothing, when you've done no research to make that data possible. So it's just BS speak, and I don't. Again, I'm talking about these things, but I don't want your garbage. I don't want that garbage anyway. On Switch, if you would put the effort into making games of value on Switch, like even stuff that people talked about, Plants vs Zombie God, stuff like that that was kind of a no-brainer that isn't on Switch. So they aren't even trying to put that kind of stuff on there. But I think a game like Titanfall 2 would do very well on Switch, even at this point, because the game didn't do well for any other console. It sold okay. I think I heard that it broke even or whatever. But there's not a whole lot of shooters on Switch. A game like that actually has a really good campaign, unlike the first one, that didn't have a campaign really at all. Has a really good campaign, is pretty highly rated, would fit really well on the Switch, and would be a kind of a standout game. Look what they're doing. They put out The Witcher 3. I mean, they're putting The Witcher 3 out in, what is it, October? And that game's 3 years old now at this point. So that shouldn't matter as far as the age. The CD Projekt Red saw something in the Switch that they figured they'd make some money off of it. And they're putting the effort into making this game possible. So, EA, who has more of a not friendship, but more of a partnership, more of a familiarity with Nintendo, than way more than CD Projekt Red, you would think they would be thinking these things too. And things, again, like Titanfall 2 would work really well, I think, on the Switch, but they won't put the effort into it. So, I'm not going to put the effort. I'm not going to put the effort into you. If you don't put the effort into, me and my likes, why should I give you my money on any console? So this idea of, I'll just buy Madden on PS4 or Xbox One is false. I'm not going to buy your game on any console. I'm not going to support you anywhere if this is how you treat me as a Nintendo fan. So, and I think a lot of people are like that. I've seen comments, I put out tweets about this stuff. I've seen lots of comments from people who say that I don't even bother with them anymore on anything. So, this idea that they'll just buy your game, we'll just buy our game on another console is false. Some people will. I'm not saying people won't, but there's a group of people that won't, and to me, that's costing you money and market share. What is it? Game recognition or company recognition. You're losing a chunk of the market, a chunk of mind share, by not putting your games on a super popular console like the Switch is. It's like completely ignoring the most popular console on the market right now. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But that's how EA wants to operate. This mentality of, go big or go home, mid-tier, we don't do those. We want stuff we make uber money off of. That mentality is going to ruin you as a company. That's short-sighted. But the long game, that's going to be a bad strategy for you or any company. So, whatever. You don't want it over here. I don't want it over here. Keep your trash off my Switch, as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, that's it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you want more EA, Activision games, whatnot on Switch? Or are you happy that their practices aren't being practiced on the little Switch that could? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys again for watching and listening, and I'll see you folks next time. Peace out.